What it do, MCTV crew? Um, so I'm gonna make a group of videos, and well, I'm thinking of making a group of videos where I discuss the big issues. And at first I was gonna do a whole bunch of them in one video, but I thought it'd be better for content number one and just for not making the video super long, and also being able to get really in detail about how I feel about each issue if I broke them up. So today I'm starting hot and heavy. Maybe bad use of words, but I'm starting strong. I'm going to talk about the trans issues. Well, trans issues, you know, trans rights and stuff like that. Um, First of all, I just want to say, when we say like trans issues or trans rights or anything like that, really we're talking about trans women, because it seems like, at least to me, nobody really cares about trans men. You know what I'm saying? People who were born uh, biological females who transition into men. Nobody really talks about them. Nobody really cares about them. Not like in that sense, but I mean as far as being upset about them or anything. Nobody, like, people might think they're different or whatever, but it's not a issue. The issue that everybody has, the group that everybody has an issue with, is trans women. And really, in my thing, it comes to two reasons why people have issues with trans women. Number one is people don't like penises. They just don't. For the most part, like, I think the only group of people who like the male sexual organ, I don't even know what I could necessarily say on YouTube, but really is uh, gay guys and like some straight women. Not even all straight women. like the biggest cohort is gay guys. And I don't know. It's just a thing. It's just part of society. You know what I'm saying? It's just a thing, and people don't want their kids to see penises. I feel like they really wouldn't want their kids to see vaginas either. But if I feel like 9 times out of 10, if you had to choose, like, okay, I want my kid to see one or the other, you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? We all know it's just something about it. It's just something about it. You know what I'm saying? Um, so that's one thing. The other thing is, when it comes to uh, physical stuff, I mean, it goes without saying that men do have an advantage just in physical fitness or physical stuff over women. I've seen so many. Number one, anybody with common sense would know that. But number two, I've seen so many like competitions or stuff that where you'll have like a really trained woman going against like average Joe, man, and a lot of times the average Joe man will win or at least hold their own just because the biology behind it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's not like being negative towards women. I think women have certain advantages over men. It's just when it comes to physical activity, physical strength, and stuff like that, biology is just on the side of men. Like, it's just that's it would be the same if you had took two lions. A male lion is bigger and stronger than the female lion. That doesn't mean that if you always put two lions together that the male lion will always win. But 9 times out of 10, or 7 times out of 10, or something, the male lion's going to win if it's just a fight over between a male and female. But the female lion is the one who hunts because she's better at that. She's more agile. She's quicker. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I'm saying. Like, just because like we all know that when it comes just to physical stuff that men usually are just naturally better at baseline, that's not like a knock against women. Um, so that being said, okay, so how do I feel about trans issues in general. I'm gonna go through a couple of them, and I'll say how I feel about it. Now, number one, I do not have kids, so I will speak on some things that I don't have a strong basis to speak on. So if you somebody with kids and you're like, well, you don't know, you don't have kids. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And number two, I guess, all of this is just my opinion. This is just how I feel about it. So, I mean, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. So, my opinion might not be correct. It's just how, when I look at it, this is how I feel. Um, I believe that as far as should kids be able to transition or not, me personally, I don't think that a kid can make that choice on their own. I'm not saying a kid can't make that choice, but I don't think a kid can make that choice on their own. Just because if we say like a 14-year-old can't make a decision of who to consent to sleeping with or not, then how can we say a 7-year-old can make a decision off of what gender they want to be? You know what I'm saying? Like, things change as people grow older, and they, just because they want to be something when they're young doesn't mean they want to be something as they grow up. That being said, that's why I said they shouldn't be able to make this decision alone. If you're a parent and you know your kid, you love your kid, you can. I feel most parents will be able to tell whether this is something that's just a flash in the pan thing, or it's just a kid just caught a whim, or whether this is something that their child is really dealing with, like really on a deep level dealing with. I feel like most parents will be able to tell, and if they're open and discussing this with their kids, if they're not just going to shun them, you know what I'm saying, I feel like they probably will be able to, with their kids and their daughters, be able to make a decision on their kids. And I believe that that's their right as the parent. They should be able to make the decision for their kids, because their kids transitioning does not have anything, it does not affect anybody else in the world. It doesn't affect you. You might think in your head that somehow a kid transitioning or being able to transition affects you. It doesn't. If it's not your kid, it doesn't affect you at all. So I don't see why somebody else or society should be able to tell a parent what they can and cannot do with their child, as long as it's not hurting the child, like it's not like physically actually hurting the child. It's something the child wants. It's something the parents will okay with, and it's something that doctors are okay with too. It's not your job to make parenting decisions for other people. Like, you wouldn't want people making parenting decisions for you. So you can't make parenting decisions for other people. Like I said, now I can see if the child was being abused or something like that, and you might say, well, them having a sex change is abuse. But I might say you pushing your religion on your child is abuse. That's my opinion. That's not my opinion, but I can make that my opinion. It's not your job to put yourself in the parenting decision of other people. That's not your job. So that's how I feel about kids transitioning. What do I feel about uh, transition people in sports? And let's be honest. Once again, we're talking about trans women, because nobody really cares if a biological female competes with a bunch of men. Nobody cares about that. So we're talking about trans women. I think when the competition, if the competition isn't a physical competition, so like if it's like chess team or something like that, I think that should be fine regardless, because it's not really like a physical like competition to where I could use my strengths in that scenario. When it becomes a physical competition, I mean, there's going to be science behind it, but I believe if the competition has some kind of reward that's going to like reward you in your life, like as far as like college or you know professional or like Olympics or something like that, I do believe that you should only be able to compete with your biological or birth gender. I just think that I feel like that's just common sense. If it gives you an unfair advantage, then you know what I'm saying, like it's just common sense that you shouldn't be able to do it. Like you can't take steroids, you can't, you know what I'm saying. If something gives you an unfair advantage, you shouldn't be able to use it in competition. And a lot of people will say, well, there are already females who have more testosterone in their system, and so that gives them an unfair advantage. I agree with that, but you have to cut it off somewhere. You have to draw a line somewhere, and I feel like where we draw a line at, just for fairness for everybody who's competing, for fairness of the athletes, for fairness of everybody, it's just to say that your biological birth is where you compete at. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about high school or middle school. I feel like that stuff shouldn't matter, and especially because that's the time of your life where a lot of people are not going to understand what you're doing. Kids can be really mean and rude, and so you wouldn't want to be outed like that in a grade school environment. In college and stuff, and in professionals, these are adults. They're mature. They're not going to. I mean, maybe some college, but for the most part, they're not going to just treat you, mistreat you or bully you or something because of your lifestyle. So I don't think the fact of wanting to stay, I don't want to say hidden or stay closeted, but to keep your to not be outed. I don't think that's really as important the higher up in level you go, but the competition becomes more and more serious. So I just don't believe in having that unfair advantage. Um, Bathrooms. This one is, I go back and forth with the bathroom thing. To be honest, I go back and forth with it because on the one hand, I feel like just because you are trans, just because you transition, don't mean that you are automatically, like, some people transition but are gay. So like you could be a trans woman who still sleeps with women. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. You could be a trans man who still sleeps with men. And so in a way that doesn't, like, it doesn't matter that you transition, you know what I'm saying, if you're going to be around a bunch of women. That being said, to try to make it seem like, well, if men can go into the bathroom with women, there's going to be a whole bunch of rapes or, sexual assaults. I don't know. Like, what are you saying about men? Like, most of the people who are making these arguments are men. So, like, what are you saying about men? Are you saying that we're going to try to find any type of way we can to rape or something like that, or should I say grape or something? Since this is going on YouTube. But what are you saying about men and that situation, that scenario, when you're making that argument that, oh, if men have a way to get women alone, then it's going to be a ton of, you know what I'm saying, like, what is that? But like, once again, that being said, I can understand if you're a parent and you got a daughter, you don't want somebody walking in there, regardless of if you think they're going to do something or not, or, you know what I'm saying, regardless, just because you want to be safe, you don't want somebody walking in there who, you know what I'm saying. So that's why I say I go back and forth on that issue. Me personally, I can't give a clean answer. I'm just gonna be honest. It's one of those issues where I would be okay either way. Like, I would be okay if it was not allowed, and I would be okay if it was allowed. I'm like right on it. I'm right on the border with that issue. So just to close off the video, my last discussion topic is politically, because just now I discussed how I feel about it, but how I feel about it and what's politically feasible or what's a good political stance is different. So once again, just to reiterate to people, I am a liberal. I'm a progressive. Pretty far left. I'm not like crazy far left. I don't believe in open borders or getting rid of police or anything like that. But like, especially economically, I'm pretty far left. So I usually come at this from like Democratic or Democratic Party point of view. So that's why I'm going to come at this in this video. I mean, quickly, I could say for the Republicans, the Republicans are already doing the correct thing as far as when it comes to the trans issue. For them, the best thing to do is to be as trans hating as possible because it's such a small minority of the population, such a small number. So the best thing for them to do for their base and stuff would just to be completely anti-trans as much as possible because the number is so small. For the Democrats, you're never going to be able to get the anti-trans vote. Like if you're a person who is anti-trans, you're not voting for the Democrats. Like especially if that's something that animates you. You could be like anti-trans, and that's like such a small issue for you that you might still vote for the Democrats. But if you're anti-trans and that's something that's like really animates you to where you actually care about it, you're not voting for a Democrat. So politically for the Democrats, the best thing to do would be to be supportive of trans people like as much as they can without, you know what I'm saying, getting into some of the things that are really like uh, heated, like trans people in sports as adults and stuff. I would, if I was Democrat Party, I would still support them. Like I said, in middle school, high school, and stuff, and I still would support parents and children and doctors being able to make the decision on if their kids transition or not. I would still support that as the Democrat Party because it's not like you're not getting those people who are against that anyway. But I wouldn't. I would try not to really talk about it necessarily. Like I would say just enough about it so that trans people in the world knows that we support them more or less. Like we can't give them everything they want. You know what I'm saying? You can't give anybody everything they want. A lot of black people want reparations. We're not going to get that. So you can't give them everything they want. But you have a home in the Democratic Party. But I just wouldn't talk about it that much. I definitely wouldn't make it like an issue that I bring up a lot. I would answer a question if I'm asked. I would have my beliefs. You know what I'm saying, but it's not something that I would harp on. It's not something that I would. You know what I'm saying? It's just hey, if you're a trans, you have a home in the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying? We support you being treated as equal individuals. You know what I'm saying? And we support you. To an extent, we can't give you everything, but we support you, and we're here for you. You know what I'm saying? But like, you shouldn't make it your number one issue. You shouldn't. You should always be like, bro, this is not a big issue. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if a Republican is calling you out, like, oh, we want trans everywhere, trans everything, like Trump says. Should be like, bro, why is that such a big issue to you? It's not a big issue to me. Like, yeah, I feel A, B, and C about it, but you're the one who talks about it all day, every day. I'm trying to talk about the economy. I'm trying to talk about healthcare. I'm trying to talk about making people feel safe and making them feel like they can afford, to live in America. Like, you're crazy about the trans issues. You're crazy about trans rights, not me. That's how I do it. So anyway, that's gonna be it for today. Hopefully you like this type of stuff. I'm gonna keep coming. Whether you like it or not, I'm gonna keep coming with videos just because it's almost like therapy for me at this point. But I do hope that you do like it. If you have any comments, you wanna yell at me, you wanna tell me I'm completely wrong, and I don't know how you could really hate what I said in this video, because even if you're anti-trans, I wasn't like super like, oh, they should be able to do whatever they want. And if you're pro-trans, you should be like, yeah, I mean, he's making common sense, you know what I'm saying, pretty pro-trans position. So I don't know, but people find ways to hate you no matter what. So I mean, if you do, let it out. Don't hold it in. If this video makes you mad, tell me how much I suck. Go ahead, put it down there. But please keep watching. Subscribe. I had a guy. Oh, I'm blanking on his name, but I think it was Dragon something. He said like, "Hey, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna keep watching." I appreciate that kind of stuff, man, because when you're looking at your view count and you have like 2 views. I think my last video had 2 views. One of the video before that had 19 views. When you're looking at your view count and you seeing stuff like that, it helps to have people tell you to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna keep going. But thank you. Till next time. See you later, MCTV crew.